Glossophobia. What is the meaning of this word? Can anyone tell me? Well, everybody knows that phobia means some kind of fear. But what kind of fear are we talking about? Let's take a look. We're talking about the fear of public speaking. Now, according to research, 4 out of 5 people face the fear of speaking in public, or what we call as glossophobia. There is a good chance that most of us have this fear. In fact, when I started my career, I'm going to be very honest with you, I faced this fear pretty much all the time. It was difficult for me to voice my opinion in front of people, and I was always full of nerves. However, look at me today. I'm here making a video for all of you because I have learned how to overcome this particular fear. So, in today's session, I want to share some public speaking tips for all of you so that you, just like me, you can overcome stage fear. In other words, I want to help all of you overcome glossophobia. So stay with me until the end while I give you some very practical tips that will help you overcome the fear of public speaking or glossophobia. Let's look at the first way to do it. Number 1, you need to calm the adrenaline rush, okay? The pronunciation of this word is adrenaline, okay? Sounds like a tongue twister, but that's what this word is. But now, what does this word mean? Adrenaline is nothing but when you feel this nervous energy. Okay, tell me, how many of you have felt your heart pumping in your chest, your palms getting sweaty when you have to speak in front of many people? Well, I did for many years. Well, that's nothing but the adrenaline rush. But if you want to overcome the fear of public speaking, you need to know how to control this. You need to know how to calm it. So how do you do that? Number 1, I want you to understand that feeling the adrenaline rush or being nervous is very normal. Okay, so don't feel like you are going through a negative emotion. It's normal to feel like that. However, when you want to calm it, it is very important that you take a minute to take a long breath. Now, why do you have to do this? When your heart is pumping in your chest, when your palms are sweaty, you need to calm yourself down. You need to let the oxygen flow in your brain so that you can think clearly. And that is going to help you calm the adrenaline rush. So take a minute to just take a long breath. And most importantly, a lot of people, what they do is they get very worried about how they look. Are my clothes ironed enough? Is my hair okay? Well, don't care about that, because if you care about that, guess what? You are raising the adrenaline levels, and you don't want to do that. So don't worry about how you look. Instead, do the smart thing and focus on your topic. If you focus on your topic, I can assure you that you don't have to worry about the adrenaline rush. Okay, the next very important tip is the power of pausing. Well, what is a pause? A pause literally means to stop. Yes, that's right. Sometimes, even when you are in the middle of a speech, you have to stop. Now, I don't mean like stopping altogether. I mean that sometimes you need to create an impact. If you remember, when I started my presentation or when I started this session, I asked you like this. I said, glossophobia. What does this word mean? What I did was I was practicing the pause. And why did I do that? Because I wanted to highlight the important words or the important points of my presentation. So in English, let me tell you that when you are talking, you have what we call as content words and you have function words. Content words represent the main part of your message. It is like the meat of your message. And when you want to create an impact, you've got to pause so that you can highlight the important features of what you want to say. And why do you do that? Because sometimes it also allows you to gather your thoughts. Let's face it, when we have to speak, we have so many thoughts running through our mind. But guess what? If you don't pause, you are going to run the risk of getting all jumbled up in your mind and you will sound pretty incoherent. And therefore, if you learn how to pause, you will gather your thoughts and your words will flow through seamlessly. Okay, so always practice the power of pause. Now, the next very important tip is to own yourself in front of the mirror. I remember when I was a child, people would tell me, hey, do you think you're too smart? Look at yourself in front of the mirror. Well, they were right. A mirror never lies. And therefore, when you are practicing your presentation, you need to practice your expressions. You need to pay attention to your body language. And how can you do this? You can only do this when you practice enough number of times in front of the mirror. So before I came on to my sets today, what I did was I practiced my smile. I practiced my expressions. I practiced how my hands are going to move. I practiced how I'm going to move along the camera. Why did I do that? Because the mirror told me exactly how I looked. Sometimes, we end up thinking we are confident, but our expressions don't show confidence. So make sure you practice in front of the mirror until you feel and appear confident. All right then, what else can you do in order to overcome glossophobia? It's called mocking up your speech. What's the meaning of the word mock? Mock means not the real thing. Okay, it's something that you do before stepping on to doing the real thing. So, before you go on to giving your speech or talking to people, don't you think you should mock up your speech? Don't you think you should practice your speech before people that you know very well? So what I normally do is, before I give a presentation, I sit down my family or a couple of my friends and I tell them and I ask them for feedback. I ask them, hey, how do I sound? How do I look? Am I too fast? Am I sounding boring? Should I say something better? And believe me, your friends, your family, if you practice in front of them, they will give you honest feedback. In fact, you can encourage them. You can ask them to ask you tough questions. When you are giving a presentation, it is common for people to ask you questions. Well, you need to be ready. But how can you be ready? Only if you mock up your speech in front of your family and friends. And of course, this idea of preparing a mock speech before the actual day of presentation, it prepares you for the final day. It gives you a simulated experience of how it is actually going to be on the day of the final speech. A smart idea, right? In order to overcome public speaking fear. And the last point when it comes to overcoming glossophobia is to choose your topic wisely. Now, I know a lot of people, they try to pick up topics which are trending. But guess what? My suggestion, which I follow, is to choose topics that fall under your area of expertise. Well, my area of expertise is English. If you have to talk to me about any other topic, I may have very little to say, right? But you've got to ask yourself, what can you talk about and what do you love talking about? So if you ask me to give you a presentation on English, I could talk quite a lot. I could answer questions. I could get into debates and I will not feel nervous. So if you don't want to feel nervous, choose a topic that you are comfortable with, that you have enough knowledge about. That way you will not be nervous. And of course, sometimes people are going to ask you to take a topic that is out of your area of expertise. Be wise enough to say no. Don't go and say a yes just because you have to give a presentation. After all, you want to overcome glossophobia. To do that, stick with a topic that you are comfortable with. Okay? So, as I mentioned, I used all these tips in order to overcome stage fear. So let's look at them. Number 1, calm the adrenaline rush. Take a deep breath. Number 2, stop. Practice the power of a pause. Number 3, the mirror never lies, and therefore practice well in front of the mirror. The next point is to mock up your speech. Give yourself a feel of how you are going to sound before the D-Day, before the actual day of presentation. And last of all, choose your topic according to your area of expertise. I'm sure if you do all of this, you are going to be great at public speaking. You are going to overcome your fear just like I did. So keep watching Skillopedia, the place to learn skills for the real world. And like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you soon with some more videos. Take care.